20 days now since a fire broke out at 30 Tughlaq Crescent on Tughlaq Road in the national capital, the official bungalow of the then Delhi High Court Judge Justice Yashwant Varma. It took almost a week for the first details of the incident to emerge and another few days for the actual pictures to come to light. Now, while the fire was doused immediately after, it is what emerged from the ruins that actually shook the country's conscience. Pictures of piles and piles of cash that lay burnt and half burnt, as the government is now mulling impeachment of Justice Varma, with the process likely to start as early in the upcoming monsoon session. What is now being learned as far as unraveling the truth that has now been established after a 33-day-long investigation by a 3-judge panel that was constituted by the Supreme Court. Now, after examining over 50 witnesses, the truth has been chronicled in black and white in a 64-page report. This report, which has been accessed by Times Now, is currently with the President of India, submitted by the CJI. Let's break down as far as the details of this report is concerned. So what did this 3-member inquiry committee sought to investigate? There are 3 questions that have now been raised to Justice Varma, who was asked to explain first, explain the presence of the cash, second, explain the source of the cash, and third, explain the removal of the cash. Now, as far as the contentions that have been made, Justice Varma said that no cash or currency was found at his residence, but this has been firmly refuted by recording made by both the fire and the police officials who were present on the spot. Next claim that has been that there was nothing that was removed from the storeroom where the fire was reported, but according to the probe report, evidence suggests that there was debris of burnt articles that were indeed removed. Now, Justice Varma has even denied that his family or his staff knew or saw any cash, but the panel has also refuted, saying that they do not trust the version of the domestic staff and the family, citing that there has been a long-time association with Justice Varma, saying that they are unlikely to contradict him. Now, speaking of the family, Justice Varma's daughter, Dia, had said that the cash video could have been from any other location. However, there has been a forensic probe that has verified the authenticity of the video, the location and the time. Everything has been cross-checked and established. Now, the most damning part of the investigative report is the video that was shot by one of the first responders on the intervening night of the 14th and the 15th of March that shows Justice Varma's staff was present when the fire was reported. Watch this before we break down exactly the significance of this video.
महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही है भाई। महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही है भाई। महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही है भाई।
Now, the man who is calling for Rahil is R.S. Karki, who is Justice Varma's private secretary, while Mohammad Rahil is Justice Varma's domestic staff. Now, in their examination, R.S. Karki seems to have admitted that it is his voice, and Mohammad Rahil also initially conceded that he was the one who was being called in this video. However, he later changed his statement. So what this establishes is that Justice Varma's staff was very much present at the spot. They were debunking Justice Varma's claim that his staff had no knowledge about any burnt cash whatsoever. Let's get a word from Bhavtosh, who's connected with us live right now. Bhavtosh, good morning. What happens from here on? As far as the investigative report is now concerned, he was shifted to his parent High Court, but was divested of any judicial duties. What happens now with Justice Varma?
Good morning, Amita. Everyone is now asking that the Supreme Court Chief Justice should also order a criminal investigation, and the criminal investigation should be conducted by a federal probe agency, in this case by CBI. There has been a probe by CBI earlier in cases where a judge has been found allegedly implicated in a corruption case. But so far as this case is concerned, no criminal investigation has started. Delhi Police did assist the Inquiry Commission. The Commissioner of Delhi Police was among the 55 individuals or witnesses who had deposed. Also, the Delhi Fire Service Chief also recorded his statement. What is very clear now after the Inquiry Commission report that has been accessed by a group editor, Navika Kumar, is that the cash actually belongs to Justice Varma. The piles of cash, which was around 1.5 feet tall, was found in the storehouse, whose access was only with Justice Varma's family. Forensically, it has also been established. Dia said that this video does not belong to them, but the person whose voice we heard belongs to his private assistant or private secretary. The person who is being mentioned is the domestic help, though he later retracted his statement. Everyone is asking that a criminal investigation in this case starts, but so far that has not happened. Justice Varma has said that the findings are perverse and unfair, and that for that very reason, before impeachment, a criminal trial, criminal probe should start. The Inquiry Commission has also said that all findings of in fact, once they recorded the statement of 55 individuals, everything points towards the fact that the burnt cash, unburnt cash belongs to him. But what is most strange is the manner in which unburnt cash was removed from the outhouse next day, that is on 15th of March.
All right, those are the developments that have now come to light with regards to the investigation that has also been taking place. But we also talk of what the panel had actually concluded, that cash, as Bhavtosh was saying, was indeed found at Justice Varma's storeroom, and that the access to the storeroom was in active control of the judge and his family and his staff. And the burnt cash was also indeed removed from the site of the fire. And the committee has also recommended the initiation of the proceedings for the removal of Justice Varma. And after this report was submitted to the CJI on the 3rd of May, he wrote to Justice Varma the next day, giving him the option to either resign or to take voluntary retirement. However, 2 days later, Justice Varma apparently responded, and he has called the findings of the investigative report as perverse and the probe as unfair. But does Justice Varma have any evidence to back his arguments in the first place? He has contended that the storeroom is under constant CCTV scrutiny, but hasn't produced as of now any footage to corroborate his claims that the money was planted and an outsider could have been possibly involved. Now, Group Editor-in-Chief Navika Kumar, who broke this big exclusive last night on Times Now, spoke to several known Supreme Court advocates and author Anand Ranganathan as well. Here's an excerpt from that conversation.
According to a Supreme Court judgment itself, an FIR can only be filed after the Chief Justice of India or the Supreme Court gives its nod for the filing of the FIR. So that should have come from the Chief Justice of India at that time. It hasn't come. In fact, after the report came out and he wrote this letter, even in that there is no suggestion of registering an FIR. So who is supposed to do that, Nalin Kohli? Was the police supposed to do it? Was the fire official supposed to do it? Was the Chief Justice of India or the committee supposed to do it? Who is supposed to do it? Who is going to find out where this money came from? And the figures are mind-boggling. In one place in this report, it is said that the sacks and the money in it was 1.5 feet high. Do you realize how much cash that is? 1.5 feet height cash bundles were there in the room. 1.5 feet. And I'll just recall the page number and the paragraph number where this is mentioned. Nalin Kohli, who's supposed to find this out? We are almost watching a tennis match going from one side to the other, whether it will be the judiciary, whether it will be the government, whether it will be the executive. What's going on?
So, Navika, permit me a few minutes. Your angst, or anyone on this panel, or even the viewers, or even members of the judiciary, their angst in terms of what is to be the outcome given the nature of the visuals and the committee report is justifiable. Now, the issue that follows this will be the process that has to flow. So, let's look at the 3 or 4 issues involved. The first is, there is a protection of office that's not just for judges, but it's for governors, ministers. There's protection for what happens within the within Parliament, within the state legislature. So these protections are from the very constitution that we are cherishing, and from where we get our rights, and even the right for us to freely speak out here and express our angst. They can't be dispensed with. They'll have to follow that due process. Number 2 is the question that 3 judges, 2 High Court Chief Justices and a senior judge of Karnataka High Court, they were the committee and an inquiry committee. We need to pause that this inquiry committee is not like, say, a departmental inquiry or a preliminary investigation. It's more like a fact-finding to give a sort of a report to the Chief Justice of India for him to exercise that what is the next step. Now, he then does the due thing of sending it to the government. In this period, if the Supreme Court, assuming from what the flow of question is, decides to take some action, is that not, in a sense, departing from the established process where the government has to be informed and the judiciary is waiting, and the two of them will see the next steps that follow? Now, the registration of the FIR is the smallest part, according to me, because at some point that is going to become the logical thing that will happen. The removal from office.
Do you
under
have the permission for it? After this report and the statement of the former Chief Justice, there is no word that is mentioned about registering an FIR. Can you register an FIR without, the Chief Justice recommending it? According to me, from whatever little of law that I understand, there is a Supreme Court judgment which does not allow you to do that. In which case, what happens, Sanjay Hegde? And I want to tell you the shocking part. Witness number 20, who has deposed in front of the three-judge committee, Umesh Malik, SHO of the police station of Tughlaq Road, said in his deposition on the 27th of March, he said that there is a stack of half-burned currency lying on the floor was about 1.5 feet in height. The stack of half-burned currency note on the ledge on the right side was also of 1.5 feet high. The witness also informed that the currency notes were on the floor from the door of the storehouse to the opposite wall at the other end. 1.5 feet high, that's the amount of cash. Some people say it's 400 crore, some say it's 84 crore, some say it's 500 crore. We don't know, because it was cleaned up the next morning.
So yes, what could have been done? I agree with Sanjay Ghosh that if you took the judge at his word and said, yes, somebody is trying to frame you, let us launch a criminal inquiry into that. For that kind of FIR, you did not need the Chief Justice's permission. To file an FIR, again, where Justice Varma is an accused, you need Chief Justice's permission. There could have been innovative ways of handling the problem. Oh. But the longer that this drags out, the longer that this comes out in the press, and then you have your parliamentary inquiry and all that, it does the system no good whatsoever. It also emboldens those who probably want to bring the judiciary down a peg or two, dilute its independence. This may very well be the precursor to a relook at the NJAC and several other steps. This is what I see coming.
So let me ask you, if something like this was done by the legislature, would the judiciary not have happily taken that call? And if we can't say anything about the judiciary for fear of contempt, Anand Ranganathan, pray please tell me, can I also get a conspiracy against me, an FIR to that effect against the judiciary, should they assume that this is contempt of court? Bhai, mera bhi kara do.
Navika, please give me a minute to explain, because both Sanjay's, one, I suppose, Bengali, have made excellent points. And I take the point of innovative routes to filing an FIR. Be that as it may, yes, indeed. You file one FIR and like a dendrimer, it goes into, spreads its tentacles, and then the investigation spreads. But I don't want to talk about whether an FIR was filed or not. It should have been. I don't want to talk about whether there is a conflict of interest. Of course there is. I want to talk about, as a common man, please bear with me 30 seconds, about common sense being going haywire and absent from what the judges have done. Let me explain. Let us say a judge says, I have a rare genetic disorder of single nucleotide polymorphism for which the government must pay 800 crores for my treatment. Now this is very common. The government pays for a government servant's treatment. But the judges have to investigate that. Whether the judge really has a single nucleotide polymorphism. Are the judges going to ask a scientist to find out the genome sequence, or are the judges going to do it themselves? That's the question. In this country, are the Supreme Court judges eligible or qualified to do forensic investigation? They are not. So why on earth was a forensic investigative team not tasked with the course of finding out what is the truth? That is the problem I have.
Because the devil is in the details, and the details are lost over time, and that is the hope and the prayer probably the judiciary carries. I'm not attributing any motives, but I'm saying as time passes, there will be a lot of evidence that will be lost, because the committee of judges on its own has not looked at many of the things which will be required probably to do the forensic analysis. They've answered only 3 questions. Was there cash? Yes, there was. Was there cash kept in the room without the knowledge of Justice Varma and his family? Certainly not. And number 3, the question of who removed the cash. Well, the committee feels it was removed by people within the House, the staff, the 16 people within the House who removed this and could not have removed this without the knowledge of the judge. Even the role of the daughter of the judge who was present at home has been spoken about by this report of the committee that I've taken notes of.